A team with 7.5 million fewer people than New York City just made World Cup history. Not with a goal. With a goalkeeper who refused to lose, 15 saves, 0 goals conceded, 28 shots faced. One goalkeeper stood between Ecuador and a result they expected to win comfortably. He did not let them. Eloy is 37 years old. He plays for Curacao. Population roughly 156,000 people, the smallest nation ever to qualify for a World Cup. 5 days earlier, they had lost 7-1 to Germany. Nobody expected anything from this match except another defeat. Then tied a record that had stood since 2014. In the third minute, Ener Valencia broke through with only the goalkeeper to beat. Read it, dived low to his left, pushed the shot around the post. That single save set the tone for the next 87 minutes. Ecuador had 75% possession. They completed 593 passes. Their expected goals number was 3.05, which means statistically they should have scored 3 times over. They scored 0. Every single shot that found the target, stopped it. 15 saves in 90 minutes. That ties Tim Howard's mark from the 2014 World Cup against Belgium. The previous record since records began in 1966. There is one difference worth noting. Howard's game went to extra time, an extra 30 minutes to rack up that number. Did it in regulation time alone and kept a clean sheet doing it. The final score was 0-0. For Curacao, that draw means their first ever point at a World Cup. For a country this size, that is not a footnote. That is a piece of permanent history. Here is what this game actually explains about small teams at a World Cup. Everyone assumes the gap between a giant and a debutante gets closed by tactics, a clever formation, a disciplined low block. Sometimes that is true, but tactics did not stop 27 shots. A backline cannot outthink every chance that arrives 28 times in one match. At some point, the system breaks down, and what is left standing in the gap is one player alone, making a decision in half a second over and over again. This is the part most tactical analysis leaves out. Small teams do not survive on structure alone. They survive on someone performing far above what their level was ever supposed to allow. A goalkeeper having the single greatest night of his career on the exact night his country needed it. Think about the math here. Ecuador is ranked more than 50 places above Curacao. On paper, this match was decided before kickoff. The gap in talent across 10 outfield players was real. But football does not actually let you average out quality across 90 minutes. It funnels everything through one moment, one shot, one save. And in that funnel, the gap in ability between two entire squads can be canceled out by one man refusing to be beaten. That is the trap with judging international football by rankings alone. Rankings measure depth. They measure who wins more often across many matches over many years. They do not measure what happens when a 37-year-old veteran decides this is the night nothing gets past him. There is also the matter of pressure working in reverse. Ecuador came into this match needing a win, fancied by many to advance deep into the tournament after a strong qualifying run. That expectation became its own weight. Every missed chance added to it. By the second half, shots were arriving faster and from worse positions, the kind of shots a calm team takes early in a game, not the kind a frustrated team should still be taking in the final 10 minutes. Composure did not just stop the ball, it visibly got inside Ecuador's heads. Curaçao's story is not really about defense, it is about variance. A small team cannot out-resource a bigger one over time. What they can do is make any single match unpredictable enough that the bigger team's advantage stops mattering for 90 minutes. Performance was the purest version of that idea. Take one position, push it to a historic limit, and suddenly, the entire gap between two footballing nations collapses into a single scoreline of 0. Martin Keown, watching from the BBC studio, said it became a shopping list of saves, that you needed a calculator by the end. That reaction tells you something. Even people who watch elite goalkeeping for a living were not prepared for what they saw. Curacao now face Ivory Coast in their final group match. Win that, and they reach the knockout stage as the smallest nation in World Cup history to do it. Ecuador, meanwhile, must beat Germany just to survive. One match, 15 saves. A record tied, not broken, but tied under harder conditions in normal time, with a clean sheet attached. Small teams do not need to be as good as everyone else for 90 minutes straight. They need one player who refuses to lose for 90 minutes straight. On this night, Curacao found theirs. That is the whole story of the underdog in football. Not balance, not control. One man standing in the gap longer than anyone thought possible. Subscribe if you want every World Cup story explained like this. You're welcome.